On this episode of Mike Crispy Unafraid, well, I have a question. Does China want a trade war despite the fact that they don't have the cards? I guess they do. We will talk about the latest that is going on right now, breaking today in Washington, D.C. and around the world. Additionally, Benjamin Netanyahu is in the White House, and Ben Shapiro is weighing in heavy. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but I think we need to get into it today because it was a big point in the White House yesterday, talking about Iran, Israel, the threat of nuclear war. We're going to get into all of that. And Jasmine Crockett, I've continued on this campaign. I'm like her number one surrogate for her to be the vice president for the Democratic nomination in 2028. So I really am going to continue pushing that. So I got more Jasmine Crockett, campaign rhetoric for you here. I want to welcome everybody to this very special Tuned Up Tuesday edition of the show today. Help us get this party started by rumbling this video. That is thumbs up on the browser, thumbs up on the mobile app, rumble. We got a lot of new subscribers on the channel because I was on, Haley Carnia's show yesterday on the Bongino Report channel. So a lot of new people, hopefully today, hopefully you stick around. I thought it was a pretty good interview. So rumble this video, get us to the top of the leaderboards. Frankie wants to buy us Rumble Premium. We're doing all these big, amazing, beautiful, great things. And you can help do your part by rumbling, viewing, sharing, watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. So big show. I'm ready. Producer Frankie's ready. You better be too. And let's go. Hello, everybody. Mike Crispy here, coming to you live from New York. It is April 8th, Tuned Up Tuesday. As Frankie said it today first before I even got a chance to say it. Tuned Up Tuesday. I'm joined in the studio by producer Frankie, who is, certainly ready to go today. He again beat me to the punch of Tuned Up Tuesday. So, Frankie, how you doing? Feeling good? How's your stock portfolio? How's your temperament this morning? I know you had to do some technical, helping of our friend Kevin Smith. So, it's got you fired up. How we doing?
I'm fantastic. That was yesterday, but it's carried over today. It's great to be here. You know me. I live to push the buttons, and buttons I will be pushing today. All right. That's all I got.
Oh, well, if you're another podcaster not named Mike Crispy and you come to Frankie for technical support and you're a little bit slow, well, Frankie will let you know. Okay, this guy is just a Rumble. Without Frankie, many shows across Rumble just simply do not exist. Anyway, big show today, and we're going to get into everything going on the amazing day that is Tuned Up Tuesday. And I want to start the show today because obviously, the markets continue to do what the markets are doing today, and people are very emotional about it. I guess you could say people are very emotional today about the markets going up and down. Again, I said it yesterday, and I continue to say it today. Have friends, family, people who are kind of like, oh, Mike, this Trump thing in the markets, and I don't know. And I always say, guys, just relax, just hold on, just enjoy the ride. The golden age is upon us. Don't worry, everything is going to be okay because this has been in the works for 40 years, I saw these two throwback clips over the last 24 hours. One was Trump, and one was obviously, I would just say, a spokesman for globalist interests. That was Bill Clinton. And we're going to roll Trump first. Again, this is 1995. Here is him talking about the way in which foreign countries rip us off. And this was simultaneously around the time the people who were running the country were enabling the ripoff. Roll it, Frankie.
I couldn't believe this last auto deal as an example. Here we are, we're sitting there. It's restricted in Japan. Everything's restricted. We're sitting, they can't come in. And all of a sudden, this country folds. We do the old fold now. I've never seen it.
That isn't the way the press reported it.
Well,
the press reported it that we had a deal.
And then all of a sudden it turned out that the deal turned out that it was not a good deal for us. And we had all the cards. I mean, it's not like we didn't have the cards. It's like, keep your cars out of here until you open up. That's all. Keep your cars out. And then the first hour was like, oh, we made this wonderful deal. After about 15 seconds after that, people realized we got duped. I just don't understand it.
What's wrong with us? I mean, I guess they said, well, this would hurt American car dealers.
What's wrong with us? I don't know. They're afraid politically to make a little bit of a tough stand. That wasn't even a tough one. That was a no-brainer. You would have had the Japanese cars out for 19 and a half seconds, and you would have won every single point. It's the most incredible failure in negotiation that I've seen. But it happens all the time. I just don't understand it. So I would take a much harder stand. I'd take a much more difficult stand, I would say. Make a couple of enemies. I think I'd make a lot of friends, ultimately.
If the United States government took a firmer stand with foreign countries, would we be better off, or are we so much now a part of the nation of the community of nations that we can't really afford to offend anybody?
I think we'd be better off, and I think we'd be far more respected. I think the Japanese would respect us far more than they do. I don't think they have any respect for us, and they shouldn't have any respect for us because we are idiots when it comes to what's happening. I mean, look at dealing with Japan. I mean, just take a look at what's going on.
Oh, I like it. All right, so we're good there. I like it. And that, by the way, is the Roger Ailes, the late Roger Ailes, the founder of Fox News. They're interviewing Donald Trump, and Marla Maples sitting next to him in an epic throwback. And you know what's funny is that, Trump there is talking about the way that, Japan rips us off. Japan was one of the first countries that actually said, kind of in good faith, over the last 24 hours that, yeah, you know what, we should renegotiate a deal that is better for the United States of America and Japan. Like, we should have a better deal. And it's funny is that all Trump has to do is like put it out there, like, hey, there's a ripoff going on. And you don't hear, many of the other countries denying it except for China. We'll get to them in a minute. But every other country is kind of like, yeah, like a lot of them who were like, even just like in a slightly negotiating in good faith, they're like, yeah, you know what, the ripoff has gone on for like, 30, 40, 50 years at this point. Okay, we can make a deal because you asked. It's like, what they say, like, you don't get anything if you don't ask, if you don't ask for it. So like Trump just asks and then they're like, yeah, okay, you know what, maybe we can. And which makes me go, hey, why didn't any of the previous presidents ever want to ask or talk about it up until this point? Yes, Frankie.
Yeah, no, it's just pathetic. I'm at a loss, and the fear mongering is insane, and it kind of just shows that like nobody really has a pulse on the market right now, and it's just like it's kind of just all these companies, specifically MSNBC, their business division. It's like this is their perfect opportunity. Like, we can scare the hell out of everyone. Let's go. It's working.
Everybody, it's actually a great point you make, Frankie, is that everybody in the news, like, they exist off of some type of fear-mongering narrative. It's the only way they stay in business. During the COVID times, what was the number one thing? Is it was like, COVID death counter, making you afraid. The newest spin of that is the false prospect of our economy crashing because we're fixing a fundamental problem that if we didn't fix would lead to a perpetual slow burn death that would be irreversible. That's where we were headed. And it's where we've been headed since our leaders sold us out. Right around the same time Trump was calling it out, our leaders were selling us out. And what's funny is that, the show today, it's like titled about China, and we talk about China. But it's like other countries are coming to the table and they're like, all right, we need to negotiate Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan. You hear 70 different countries who are saying, hey, we got to do something about it. We'll talk about Israel in the next segment. European Union is even saying some stuff. But China seems to stand out in this arrogant, vicious, enabled kind of way. It's almost like all of the chips. Okay, we're talking about cards and casinos and chips, and you don't have the cards. I like how Trump was saying you don't have the cards, like back in 1995, and then he like whipped that line out against Zelensky. I'm just like, that's pretty awesome. But it's almost like China has all of the chips from the globalist left. They're like the piggy bank, okay, holding on to it. And that's why they're acting tough right now, because it is really right now at this point, nationalists and the America First movement, President Trump, the United States of America, the core United States of America, versus globalist interests of the left, including people who are U.S. citizens, like betting on China. Like, they're literally betting against the United States of America. You can't be for China right now and be with the United States right now in this, conflict. And the reason I think China is being so pompous and so aggressive, and the fact that they've ripped us off for years and their economy has flourished and grown from it, and now they're like, no, you can't do anything reciprocal. We're going to keep doing it and double down, triple down. The reason they're doing it is because they are enabled and propped up by and in cahoots with the globalists left, including people like this and this family. It's kind of funny how it all was foreshadowing in the 90s. Roll it, Frank.
The WTO agreement will move China in the right direction. It will advance the goals America has worked for in China for the past 3 decades. And of course, it will advance our own economic interests. Economically, this agreement is the equivalent of a one-way street. It requires China to open its markets with a fifth of the world's population, potentially the biggest markets in the world, to both our products and services in unprecedented new ways. All we do is to agree to maintain the present access which China enjoys. Chinese tariffs from telecommunications products to automobiles to agriculture will fall by half or more over just 5 years. For the first time, our companies will be able to sell and distribute products in China made by workers here in America without being forced to relocate manufacturing to China, sell through the Chinese government, or transfer valuable technology. For the first time, we'll be able to export products without exporting jobs.
Wow. And how did that go? How did that go? Pretty amazing, huh? When you throw the throwback on the screen and you just see it and you just go, wow, these are the people who, perpetually run our country. I mean, again, Hillary Clinton was almost the president in 2016. Could you imagine if we had a continuation of the globalist Clinton, cabal and globalist interests running our country? Could you imagine if we had that? I mean, Clinton there talking about that. That's what took our country. Again, we were already kind of in some ways, globalizing. But that's what took us to the point that we're in now, which, unless we have drastic measures like are on display right now, we'd be at a point of no return. Yes, Frankie?
Well, it's just wild to watch a clip like that because obviously me and you, Mike, were not exactly in politics when we were children, but it is insane. We look at our relationship with China now and our goods and everything coming from there. And it's just wild to know that they were actually pushing to the public like this deal is going to bring this. Look at this. China has the biggest population. Look at that market we're going to tap. Oh yeah? Well, it's weird because when we try to sell our furniture, we get slapped with a 50% tariff, not 80% tariff. It's actually crazy. Like China was licking their chops when this was signed, and they're like, these idiots, they're selling their whole country out, and we never recovered, and looks like we're coming back. Just wild. Crazy to actually think that they could sell that.
Right, Frankie.
Oh, look, you'll be able to sell all your products to a big, huge country that will never allow it. It's just, this is insane.
Yes. And here's the thing, is that a lot of the globalist industrialists made a shit ton of money, okay? A shit ton of money by engaging themselves in this business, while Clinton lied to the general public and spun what you just saw right there, which Frankie just pointed out. Obviously, everyone was laughing at the American people when they ate that up, allegedly. I guess they ate it up like, oh, okay. So again, want to get to the fact that China, and this is the kind of theme of the first segment today, is that China stands alone, and that's fascinating to me. It kind of affirms every theory you would have about them, like the fact that they're like standing so boldly alone in this. Like, why? How do they even have those cojones? Countries are coming to the table, many of them. I mentioned 70 plus countries. Here is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who, again, I think is great. I trust this guy. I think he's it's the smart, stable leadership. We went from Janet Yellen to Scott Bessent. I mean, I think you would call that, upgrade of the century right there. Remember Janet Yellen, inflation is transitory and all her other mealy mouth things she would say, and she would relate the Treasury to global warming and DEI, and you just be like, oh my goodness, we're doomed. Here's Bessent talking to Larry Kudlow yesterday about what's going on with the negotiations. Roll, Frankie.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from them, but Larry, I can tell you that there are 50, 60, maybe almost 70 countries now who have approached us. So it's going to be a busy April, May, maybe into June. And Japan is a very important military ally. They're a very important economic ally. And the U.S. has a lot of history with them. So I would expect that Japan's going to get priority just because they came forward very quickly, but it's going to be very busy. And if President Trump, again, gave himself maximum negotiating leverage, and just when he achieved the maximum leverage, he's willing to start talking.
Oh, I like that. Maximum leverage, and then we can start talking. Everyone say, oh, well, that's not so nice. They have been killing us for 30 years. The foreign country knows that. Okay, they know that. And they also know deep down that they cannot survive just as much as they built it up since Bill Clinton sold it all out in 1993. They know they cannot survive for the 3.5 years under President Trump that they would have to endure if he puts his money where his mouth is, which he is doing. They know they can't survive it. That's what we call leverage. That's what we call advocating the interests of the American people. So you come to the table now. No country has the cards like the United States has the cards. Yes, Frankie? Oh, I thought you had something. All right.
Nope.
Frankie's shaking his head here in disgust about these foreign countries.
True.
So China, I mentioned, obviously was retaliating. Here's the details on what was going on with China specifically, okay? And this was reported by the president. By the way, isn't it nice, Frankie? Isn't it nice to have a president of the United States who just kind of like talks in his own voice, like in real time? Isn't it nice to have again? There was this clip that I saw yesterday. You scroll on Instagram, and it was Biden's top 5 moments, and I gotta play it because again we haven't talked about Biden in a while. So tomorrow's show I'm gonna play it just so you can just get a little. Every now and then it feels good. It's like, wow, we put up with this for 4 years. We survived this for 4 years. Now we got, Trump back in. It's a really funny clip. Frankie, maybe I'll send it to you. We can show it at the end of the show, but I was laughing out loud, but maybe we'll save it for tomorrow. I don't want to have Frankie doing too much. But this was from Trump yesterday. Yesterday, China issued retaliatory tariffs of 34% on top of their already record-setting tariffs, now monetary tariffs, illegal subsidization of companies, and massive long-term currency manipulation. Despite my warning that any country that retaliates against the U.S. by issuing additional tariffs above and beyond their already existing long-term tariff abuse of our nation will be immediately met with new and substantially higher tariffs over and above those initially set. Therefore, if China does not withdraw its 34% increase on their already long-term trading abuse by tomorrow, April 8th, that is today, the United States will impose additional tariffs on China of 50% effective April 9th. Additionally, all talks with China concerning their requested meetings with us will be terminated. Negotiations with other countries, which have already requested meetings, will begin taking place immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Wow. And you know what I say? China, you don't have the cards. I love that say. By the way, I say that a lot now. Like if just like you're just like with friends and like you're in a situation like and you just have to, you don't have the cards. It's actually it's amazing. So, but think about what Trump is saying right here. China tariffs us at a 3x rate of anything that we've ever tariffed them. They manipulate the currency. We somehow subsidize them through like these like globalist programs, stuff like that. They don't pay into it. We pay into it. Such a ripoff for years and years and years. Enabled and started by Clinton. They've become one of the richest countries on the planet. Second richest, behind us. Propped up by people around the world. They slapped 34% in retaliation to us putting a tariff on them, which doesn't even get us equal, but we're still behind, but we're making up for it. They then put another percentage on to, I guess, their plan is to keep that margin of fraud going on that they're ripping us off on. That's the plan. So then we say, okay, you do that to us. We said, don't do it. We'll put 50% on top. And you know what we're doing in real time, Frankie? We are squeezing China out of the global market back to what they were in the 80s before Clinton brought them up to this point. It's kind of unbelievable if you really just stop and think for a minute, like where we're at. And why would we want to rely on China? Again, during the COVID times, we couldn't even get ibuprofen. We were in an ibuprofen shortage because China makes it. They unleashed COVID into the world. No one continues to hold them accountable for that, but like they unleashed COVID into the world. I think intentionally. Some people think as an act of stupidity. I think intentionally. And now they want to do what they're doing. You know what? Trump is saying it. Every other country wants to come to the table. I have a feeling that the United States and 70 other countries could choke out China in perpetuity forever. And in 3.5 years, take them back to the days of, Beijing in the 70s, which was nothing. 3.5 years, it can undo everything they've done. And they got the globalists saying, hey, hold on, do this, do that, hang on, it's okay, we'll do this. We'll try to squeeze Trump, we'll try to stop him. You got members of the Senate right now, Republican members, who want to check Trump's authority to levy the tariffs. Republicans call themselves constitutionalists. Presidents have always had that power. They want to check Trump's authority to do it. We're going to win this game here. We're going to win this. Here's Bassett talking about it specifically with China. Roll.
President Trump has maximum negotiating leverage right here, right now. And I think it would be a mistake for anyone to think otherwise. And as I said, many of our trading partners, they have queued up and they have kept their cool. They have not escalated. And they will get priority in the queue. I think it was a big mistake, this Chinese escalation, because they're playing with a pair of twos. Traditionally, if you look at the history of the trade negotiations, we are the deficit country. So what do we lose by the Chinese raising tariffs on us? We export 1/5 to them of what they export to us. So that is a losing hand for them.
Wow. So good. Calm, cool, and collected. You hear that? My favorite part of that? A pair of twos. Okay, a little poker reference there. Not a very good hand. Pair of twos. You don't have the cards, China. You don't have the cards. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Show rolls on. Do not go anywhere.
I hope that's like, when they come out with the biography, like that has to be the title. You don't have the cards.
You don't have the cards. Trump's message to the rest of the world as he saved the country for our people. All right, guys, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for watching today. We have a nice audience. We have a nice audience shaping up. Obviously, we want our audience to be, bigger and better every single day. But if we have any new viewers in the chat who have come over after, me on Haley Carania yesterday, which, obviously, through the Bongino report, a ton of Rumble fanfare there. A lot of new subscribers. So if you're here and you're new today, please Rumble this video and share this stream and help us, continue our rise and our ascent on this channel. Also, we have Real America's Voice TV, the new hit show Last Call with Mike Crispy. It's everybody's new favorite show. Everyone's talking about it. Okay, it is the new spot for weekend conservative talk. Okay, you watch Lara Trump at 9 o'clock on Saturdays. You watch Mike Crispy at 8 o'clock on Saturdays. I mean, that's what we call. That's like, you can't have a better Saturday night than that. And then, obviously, everybody just wants to watch me and Frankie twice. So then you put on Real America's Voice on Sundays at 7 o'clock, and you get more Crispy and Frankie. How cool is that? So tell everybody who watches RAV, Real America's Voice TV, who we love, that we're coming on and coming in hot there. Many big things to come. I want to tell you guys about our sponsor. Sponsors who are making this possible, and our first sponsor is making this possible. This is the show is fun too. Watch it, folks. Says Liberty. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Our first sponsor is OFP Farms. Guys, head over to OFPFarms.com right now. OFPFarms.com right now, and use promo code. We'll go back to the other one tomorrow, Frankie. But today, use promo code Last Call. That is promo code. You're on mute, or the multi-view. Use promo code Last Call for 20% off your order. Use promo code LASTCALL for 20% off your order to celebrate our new show. Guys, OFP Farms right now is the Maha movement for your home and your bathroom and your needs, specifically soaps, lotions, lip balms, beard products, magnesium pain relief creams and oils. It is such an amazing, amazing product and service and company. They use all natural ingredients, all made in the United States of America. And the main ingredient is goat milk, guys. Goat milk is naturally nourishing for your skin. Frankie and I got the HD camera. Look at my skin just glowing off the screen. And that is because of the goat milk, okay? The goat milk and tallow in there right now. So go get that soap. Everybody who watches this show, they all have, okay? They all have family members who are hooked on OFP. So guys, OFPfarms.com. The promo code is last call. Again, that's last call, one word, for 20% off your order. Go get it today while supplies last, because that soap is selling, baby. I just bought more OFP soap. Going to try the lotion, says Kit Kat Mar. Well, hopefully you use that promo code last call, okay? So we can get, our good friends at OFP to be happy, and we can get our good friends at OFP to renew with us and be our sponsors forever, because we love them and we want a nice, beautiful relationship with OFP Farms. So Freedom or Death 2020. Something funny is going on with Rumble numbers the past couple of weeks. Everyone is down.
Yes.
Are you saying that
are not wrong. They are not wrong. Rumble's working on it, apparently. I've spoken to quite a few employees over there in Florida, and they are certainly working on it, but it doesn't seem like those fixes are happening currently.
Well, I like any fix that makes us have more viewers. I mean, our page is about to hit 10,000 subscribers here on this channel, which is, pretty good. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, pretty good growth. So, we certainly are rooting for Rumble. It's where we've made our home, on this daily stream. So, guys, Mike Crispy Unafraid, Monday through Thursday on Rumble, and then Last Call on Saturdays and Sundays. You get 6 days of Mike Crispy and producer Frankie. How cool is that? Someone said, "What up, Frankie?" There you go. They're talking to you, Frankie.
What
love
up,
that.
Freedom or Death?
I've never seen Freedom or Death.
I love the
Freedom
username.
or Death. That's
I
a good
agree.
one. Mike is wait. How about this one? Today's Frankie Day. Serby says, "Mike, is Frankie on X?" Oh yeah, you better believe he is. At producer Frankie.
Boom.
At producer Frankie. Super easy, right? You're just at producer. Yeah, at producer Frankie. Go follow Frankie. Let's get him to 500 followers. I think he's at like 200 something followers. Go get Frankie to 500 followers. He is on X. Producer Frankie on X.
Go.
At producer Frankie.
I lost my check mark, but it'll come back.
It'll come back. I'm at Mike Crispy, as you can see right here.
Yeah.
At Mike Crispy. At producer Frankie. At Mike Crispy. Go follow us both. If you haven't, I'm always on X. Always talking on X. And we're only getting stronger with every single day. Serby, yes, you got a thumbs up. Thank you all very much. And without further ado, Frankie, I think we can roll right back into it.
I think so, Mike. We are on it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispy here, coming live from New York. It is Tuesday, Tuned Up Tuesday, I might add. And, it's very fascinating what's going on in our geopolitics. Obviously, I've always been an advocate for America coming first over all other countries. And, when it comes to President Trump's tariffs, I think that he is showing that he means business on that front too. He always has. There's a contingent of people that are always like, oh, Trump is, is siding with this country, or he's doing that, or he's doing this. At the end of the day, President Trump always has been advocating for America first above all. And I think if you are a American, no matter what your denomination is, no matter what country you come from, no matter what your religion is, you would agree that if you are acting as the leader or a leader for the United States, your country comes first. Do we stick with our fundamental philosophical allies in times of strife? Yes, of course. Do we believe that, there should be peace in the world and that we shouldn't have, radical Islamic terrorists, going after people and, and targeting people because of their faith? Of course. But when somebody gets too over their skis and too out on a limb in a very obvious way, that kind of just screams that, I don't know, what you know, like, why are you defending another country before America? Here's my thing. And you can't call anybody anti-Semitic for calling this out. Ben Shapiro is Jewish. And Ben Shapiro clearly is proud of his heritage. That's great. I love the Jewish people. I do. I love them. I think they're great. Ben Shapiro is Jewish and he has pride in his heritage. I am Italian. I love my heritage too. I'm the president of the Italian American Civil Rights League, for crying out loud. So, like, I love Italy and my Italian heritage. But at the end of the day, if the United States and Italy were having problems, I would take the United States side 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 without even thinking about it for a second. And if two countries were competing, if Italy and the United States were competing on something, geopolitically or militarily or, you know, with foreign influence or negotiations or trade deals, I wouldn't even for a minute in my psyche be able to take a side of a country, again, in which I'm proud to have heritage from, but in which my future and my destiny at this point is not directly linked to. Is that a fair statement, Frankie? Is that a fair statement to say? And I don't like if you can't say it, they'll say, oh, well, you're anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Semitic. Ben Shapiro, in this rant here, where he specifically is upset about tariffs on Israel, is quite bizarre to me. What if Trump just left Israel off? I mean, that would be strange. Again, it's reciprocal tariffs for everybody. And no country, no matter who you are, is our best friend or worst enemy. Everyone needs to be dealt with in fair, even keel negotiations. Here is Ben Shapiro, I think, advocating for another country above ours. Roll, Frankie.
Yesterday, Israel announced 0 tariffs on any American goods. The Trump administration hit them with a 17% tariff anyway, claiming that they had a 33% tariff rate on American goods, which clearly is not true. Why? Because it turns out that we buy more stuff from the Israelis than the Israelis buy from us. Shocker. They're a smaller country. We're a giant market. Not a giant shock, as it turns out. So this is pretty crazy. I have friends, for example, who import product to the United States and then sell them. Why? Because they can't get the product in the United States. So, for example, I have a friend who's in the jewelry business. And this friend in the jewelry business imports products that are not capable of being manufactured or found in the United States from abroad. So it's not like there's import substitution you can just buy from an American. That's not how it works. By the way, this company is an American company. The tariff that is now being applied to all of his imports is like 35, 40%. Those prices will get passed directly on to the consumers if consumption goes down. If investment goes down, because investors are freaked out because they're getting whipsawed like nobody's business. Again, I was talking with investors pretty much all day yesterday, given what was going on. And the number one thing that I was hearing from major investors is, I don't know what the hell is going on. That was the number one thing. Before and after. The amount of confusion, chaos in the markets, a feeling of complete dyspeptic ulcer-ridden kind of churn, that is very real, and that is not good for market.
Why is he so mad, specifically, about the 17% Israel tariff? Frankie, I was making a lot of points before the clip. You watched this clip as well. We were sharing it and talking about it. What say you, Frankie?
Ben lost me about 4 months ago when he decided to go on a rant about how we should bring the retirement age up to 70. And his point is, I plan on working for this long. I plan on working until I die. I know so many people who, as soon as they retire, they die because they have no purpose. This man is in makeup. And from what I understand, when he's not recording a video, he also puts on the makeup. This man sits at a cushy desk and a cushy chair and has the frickin' balls to tell people that are on a construction site doing union work, drilling, that they should extend their retirement age to you sick person. And, we're not going to get into Israel, obviously, but it's always curious when, we look at the population of Israel and like Netanyahu, his population, it goes up, it goes down, it goes really down, it goes really up. We cover all these things. But it doesn't matter what the people think in Israel. Shapiro always has the same talking points, and he's never critical about the politics of the country. He's always propping them up in the best light without having any arguments. Like, it's you're from the country, whatever. You're an Israelite, I don't know, whatever it is. You have the right to talk about it, but also say the problems and the good things and the bad things, and actually have a political conversation. Like, politics are good and bad everywhere, no matter what. But it's always just this perfect, everything's perfect, Israel's perfect, how dare you, how dare you, how dare you, and no pushback. It's just like at a certain point, you're clearly, money's coming from somewhere, and it's not from America in the Daily Wire. That's all.
If you're advocating, it almost feels like this. And here's my point. And Frankie hits the nail right on the head here. You advocating for one sect of a country's government and political party, which is what Shapiro does, and calling that out is not anti-Semitic. What I mean by that is Shapiro always advocates for one particular political wing of Israel's government. And as Frankie points out, he almost does it as if he's paid to do it. Like, he's always advocating for like one angle of it. You think all the people in Israel like want just that viewpoint? That would be like if you criticize the Joe Biden regime, well then you hate America. You chant death to America. What do you mean? We've been criticizing Joe Biden for years, rightfully so. We don't like the way in which he governed the country for the last 4 years and the way in which they enacted domestic policy and foreign policy. I think that's pretty strange. I think you should be able to criticize that without being called somebody who hates that country. So it's like, yeah, Shapiro, you can say whatever you want and you can advocate for a country. No, that's fine. But the weird thing about him is that when he talks about it, as Frankie says, it feels very much like he's just pushing not even the interests of like Israel as a country, but one political wing, specifically party, faction, group. And to me, it's like, fine, if you want to do it, it's a free country. You can say whatever you want. You can have whatever belief you want. If that's what you believe, fine. But you pass it off to the people as like, oh, this is what's good for, this is like America. It's like, MAGA, like conservative. Again, this is the guy who left us for DeSantis.
Yeah, and
this is the guy who has never been fully on the Trump train here. Yes, sir.
And like, not for nothing, I have nothing good to say about Chuck Schumer, okay? I have nothing good to say. Of course, I don't have anything good to say about him. But like, one thing that they always say is like, oh, he's Jewish, but he's anti-Semitic because he doesn't agree with he won't vote for every funding that goes towards like Israel. And like, a Ben Shapiro is who creates these kind of stages where it's like, no, not necessarily. He could be a Jew and he could just have different political beliefs of a region. Like, that was never a thing where you're just like criticize. Again, don't want to get too far into it, but it's clear.
Yes. It's a whole nother. It's like a 2-hour show. Us doing that. Frankie, a little multi, if you could, for me, please. So yes. Now I bring this up and I call attention to this because Donald Trump was in the Oval Office with Netanyahu yesterday. They had an Oval Office, live press gaggle. I was watching it. President Trump and President Netanyahu in Israel. Hegseth was on the couch and others, and they're talking there, and it was very, I like the way Trump does it where, it's like open and the press is there and they're like talking very openly and, they're like having like a 45-minute dialogue, like literally out in the open. Biden never did that. Remember, it was like 5 minutes of like him like reading on a little flashcard and then they'd go away and they'd say, thank you, press. So what I like about Trump is that he gets these leaders talking candidly in a position that they're really not that comfortable in because in their governments, this doesn't happen. You don't go to, any foreign country and sit there and talk, totally unfiltered to the press for that long. Like things are like way more controlled, right? In almost every other country. That's how it was in the United States before Trump made it, open, how it always should be. Here's Netanyahu talking about the trade deficit and Trump putting him on the spot and art of the deal, him having to say what he says. Because can you imagine him not saying this? Roll this, Frank.
I can tell you that I said to the president a very simple thing. We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do. And we're going to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily. And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same. I recognize the position of the United States. It says, we're allowing other countries to put tariffs on us, but we don't put tariffs on them. And, I'm a free trade champion, and free trade has to be fair trade. And I think that's basically the position that you have put forward, Mr. President. We are going to eliminate the tariffs, and rapidly.
And, Trump did go on to say, well, yeah, we do give Israel, $1 billion, every single year for defense. Like, it's the least they could do is, lower these barriers. So if Trump is going to do that, to me, that affirms that he's advocating in the best interest of America. Yeah, you're gonna lower your tariffs. And by the way, how's Israel been able to do it? It's kind of calls these are our allies, the European Union, Israel, Japan, all the countries that rely on us around the world have been able to simultaneously get billions of dollars of foreign aid and put the tariffs on us. Yes, Frankie.
Yeah, beyond that, it's when you actually look back at it, it's a couple things. Netanyahu, since, I don't know, probably 1995, I would say, he was saying, this is the man who would come to America every year and basically say, Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon. Iran they're 5 years away. They're 5 years away from a nuclear weapon. And that he said that every year since we were born, okay? So this is also, it's very weird because he's kind of the one that basically said, America, this guy Saddam Hussein, he's a bad guy. You guys really should invade. He's disrupting the area. It's very unstable. You should really come in there. You should really get rid of him. And it's
yeah,
not really. People were actually kind of in peace there. The Houthis.
Yeah. And where has this led us? Yeah.
Yeah, and he was under the impression that if we overthrew him, that within 10 years we would have democracy there, and it would flood the region, Mike. So
no,
yeah,
you can't nation build. You can't. It just will never freaking work. And anybody who tries to act like the nation building will work is doing something for another. For another interest. I mean, again, around the world, countries always encourage other countries to nation build. And the Bush era, they were talking about nation building in Afghanistan. How'd that work out? Iraq, Saddam Hussein, take down the statue. Trump said it at the time. These terrorist groups would fight each other. Let them fight. What are we getting involved for? Let them fight each other. And the people living in peace. Remember when he said, what are we getting involved for? It's the most obvious foreign policy. All right, so now we're in this mess. And I want to roll this clip because Trump talks about Iran. Everyone's, right now on online, and everyone is talking about the prospect of, us becoming embroiled in a conflict with Iran. Nobody wants a conflict with Iran. I don't want a conflict with any country. I don't want a conflict with any country. I don't want war with any country. I want world peace, and I want us to use our leverage and our might to have ultimate deterrence and not go to war. That's what's in the interest of America. Here is Trump talking about direct talks with Iran. Roll this clip.
We're having direct talks with Iran, and they've started. It'll go on Saturday. We have a very big meeting, and we'll see what can happen. And I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious. And the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with, or frankly, that Israel wants to be involved with if they can avoid it. So we're going to see if we can avoid it. But it's getting to be very dangerous territory. And hopefully those talks will be successful. And I think it would be in Iran's best interest if they are. successful. We hope that's going to happen.
Okay, so you hear there Trump talking about direct talks with Iran. I think that's a good thing. I think that's good policy. It would not be good for the people of Israel to be in a war with Iran. It just wouldn't be good. That's what we call mutually assured destruction. Iran has nukes. Israel has nukes. The United States involved. It wouldn't be good for anybody. Maybe if you're a Cheney type in Israel, it'd be good for you. Maybe if you're a Bush type in Israel, it'd be good for you. If you want war, if you're a warmonger, yeah, sure. And you can hear Trump saying we're going to have direct talks. Have other leaders had direct talks with Iran before? It's a pretty interesting development, actually. Hats off to Trump. Have the direct talks. And you, again, because none of this happens. Nobody has the cards except the United States. No country can survive without the United States, essentially. And all countries can be boosted up and taken down by the United States. So use the leverage to maintain peace for the betterment, at the end of the day, of American citizens. Yes, Frankie, last word here.
Why am I nervous? You may ask. Why am I nervous? There was a guy, he's actually still alive, he's about 80. General Wesley Clark, don't know if you've ever heard of him, but a 4-star general that was, he was the commander of Europe, like the commander of the Europe section of NATO in the U.S. from like 97 to 2000, and then he ran for president, not as a Republican or Democrat, one of those other ones. But basically, what this man had actually pointed out was that there was this, and he announced that there was this secret plan that with our U.S. military, and the plan was that after 2001, when the towers went down, apparently the deep state of our military was planning what they called seven. They basically had this plan where in 5 years they would take down 7 nations. Okay.
Yeah.
And now, of course, that didn't happen in 5 years, but in about 12. Right now, out of those 7, Mike, there's one left. What do you think that one is?
Iran.
You got it. That's why I'm nervous.
And that's the biggest one of all. And that's the biggest and strongest one of all. I mean, again, these people chant death to America. These people are extreme. They're extremely volatile and extremely violent and extremely hateful. But at the end of the day, I don't think they all want to get nuked into oblivion. And so, Trump talks tough. He means business. They come to the table. And that is what I predict will ultimately happen. It's actually what I also would predict would have been the opposite of happening if Trump didn't win, the country wasn't saved. I would predict that a Kamala Harris presidency would enable a foreign war for the globalist neocons. Last clip here. Trump, again, this is what I call a little art of the deal. People got a little startled at this comment. I just call it Trump doing what's in the best interest of America, backing everybody off with the prospect of force. I think talk is good. Violence is bad, but talk is good. You got to say these things. I don't like when people go, oh, Trump's talking like this. It's like, no, you got to talk tough in order for nothing to happen. That's how it works. Roll it, Frankie.
I think if the talks aren't successful with Iran, I think Iran is going to be in great danger. And I hate to say it, great danger, because they can't have a nuclear weapon. It's not a complicated formula. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That's all there is. You can't have it. Right now we have countries that have nuclear power that shouldn't have it. But I'm sure we'll be able to negotiate out of that, too, as part of this later on down the line. But Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if the talks are successful, I actually think it'll be a very bad day for Iran if that's the case. Yeah.
There you go. So that is what we call, again, high stakes. People got nervous. People said, oh, I don't want to go to war with that. I say, you know what I say it is? I call it art of the deal on the most grand scale. The most grand scale, art of the deal. People get a little nervous.
I don't like it. I'll be honest. I don't like it. Doesn't sound good. Gives a lot of opportunity for bad things to happen.
And liberty 12754 says, Mike, Islam is extreme. They don't care about death. They believe they'll be better off as a dead holy warrior. Yes. However, the entire nation being nuked into oblivion so it doesn't exist anymore, as Trump would say, even if there's a 1% chance of that happening, you kind of stop, and it creates a sober head for negotiation. But we can certainly say that, high stakes right now, and we do not want war with Iran or any country for that matter. So we better hope and pray that these negotiations go the way they should, and not the way that warmongers from around the world, including warmongers in other countries, would probably want it to go for their interests. Does that make sense? Pretty wild stuff. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. So much more. Do not go anywhere.
All right.
Get a little nervous there, Frankie. Get a little nervous there, huh?
Why?
I'm a little nervous.
Well, I don't think it's a good move. I'll be critical when Trump, our
You
boy
know,
Trump, I love him, but that was bad.
Well, I think he's saying it. I think he's saying it again. He says he's having direct talks. It's gonna be
Him
peaceful.
saying that,
And then I think
Netanyahu is licking his chops like, oh yeah, you're going to bomb them if they do something wrong, and it'll probably be us that actually does something wrong and pretends it's Iran.
Well,
I mean, let's be real. Like, we know what the deep state does, and that's literally when a president talks tough like that, then it just gives someone else to have a reason to fake it. So I'm terrified.
I just hope that it doesn't get to that point. Obviously, I hope that what Trump is saying right now is not bluster, but a bargaining chip. Mm-hmm. I mean, when Trump said he's directly talking with Iran, you could see Netanyahu's body language was very unsure and not happy. Like even Netanyahu's body language when Trump was talking about that. So, like, I think it's like I think it's a teeter-totter, Frankie. I think it's a teeter-totter that Trump's kind of working the middle of. It goes, hey, we're going to talk to them directly. I don't think Netanyahu would want them to talk to Iran directly. He'd rather them be the intermediary, which again, that's not good. But yeah, no, I do believe that. How can we know if Iran has or doesn't have nuclear weapons? Again, Trump talks about it in such a way where he thinks that they have it. I mean, I think that people have been saying that they have it or they have the capabilities. They're working towards it.
I mean, to be real,
Barack Hussein Obama did
Iran
give them
is
a pallet of cash for billions of dollars.
Yeah, Iran does. I mean, you could. There's a chance that they could have a nuclear weapon. I mean, it doesn't mean that they have an air force capable of delivering the weapon or anything else. They're pretty not that impressive as far as they're going to have to deliver that across the world. So, I don't see them as too much of a threat. I don't know. Could be.
Yes, and Kit Kat Mar, Sissy Mouse, Vintage Lula, great live chat conversations today about it. Yes, certainly the Iranians, they don't like America very much.
But the other problem
is
is
you need to do it the way that.
Yeah, that other problem is that like they don't like each other. Also, like they're like I don't know, call it shirts and skins. There's like two factions of Islam, right? You got like the the Sunnis and the Sunnis and the Shiites or whatever, and like they hate each other, and Shiites, and they fight each other, And then we had what's his face that we killed years ago. That was the only one to actually keep peace between those two factions, Saddam, and now they hate each other. So it's like, are they that impressive when they can't agree with? They're still killing each other. So I don't know.
I'll tell you this. At the end of the day, like, people are talking about in the chat, like how, the people of, these countries hate us and want to kill us. And yes, of course. However, President Trump, and I think the duty of any president, and then we'll move on and sponsor, the duty of any president for the 4 years or the 8 years they're in is very simple. America first. No conflict, no war, no death, prosperous economy, and you leave the country in a better place in which you got it. You're not going to solve the fact that radical Islamic terrorists hate Americans. You're never going to solve it. It's there 100 years before us. It'll be here 100 years after us. You're never going to solve it. I guess theoretically, some people would say, the warmongers, you could drop a nuclear bomb, but no, you wouldn't solve it because then they drop one on us, and whatever's left, they would hate us more, and then they would bomb us, and people would die. No, all you can do is do what I think Trump is doing right now. Talk tough, strong, accounts, direct talks with each parties, holding to account, always with the prospect of something that can be done, as Trump would say, even if it's a 10% chance. People back down and we have peace for 4 years. That's the way I view it. So, what a wild time.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive, huh? What a time to be alive.
Sweating.
All right, I want to tell you guys about our next sponsor of the show. And our next sponsor of the show are our friends over at iTarget Pro. Bang, bang. Guys, head over to iTargetPro.com right now and use your promo code CRISPY for 10% off your order. Guys, iTarget Pro is a laser firearm home training system. What is that? Laser firearm home training system. It is a very simple to use product. It is a laser bullet that is loaded into the chamber of your firearm. You are able to dry fire with your firearm with the laser bullet into the targets, the cubes you see on the screen, or the traditional eye target, which is like a nice, big, beautiful bullseye. Okay, it syncs up with the app. Okay, you set up the app as you can see on the screen. It sets up with the app, and you are able to track your accuracy, the speed in between, your rounds at real-time speed, real-time pace. And you will become the sharpest shooter, your friends, your family, your kids, your wife, your husband, the sharpest shooter that God intended you to be. You guys know ammo is costly, and you guys know that police response times are also up. So you got to have that ammo in your house. You got to have everybody in your family be equipped and ready. And it is such an important thing. I call this a PSA, not an ad. And it makes an amazing gift. I mean, you can buy all this crap, this stuff. The iTarget Pro is an amazing gift for people in your family, anybody in your family, and we are so happy to have them as a long-term sponsor. So, guys, iTargetPro.com, promo code is CRISPY, 10% off your order. Go get it today. Laser bullet for all different size ammos, and you will be ready to go, okay? Promo code is CRISPY, the coolest gift ever, iTarget Pro. How about our friend Skylar Lee? 127 live viewers, getting up there. We're at 130 right now, so we're getting our viewers back. We're getting our viewers back.
We're trying.
We're doing good. I mean, what happened was we were at when we went off on our own, we were at like 200, and then we had like our hiatus for a little while here, there, everywhere, and now we're at like 130. But last week it was like an 80. So we're getting the numbers back. We're getting the numbers back, Frank. We're gonna get ourselves back to 200 plus soon enough, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6. Let's go.
I'm ready.
As soon as we plug Rumble on last call, we forgot to do that.
We did. We kind of forgot.
We'll do it. We'll do it this week. Sorry about that. All right, let's roll back into it, Frankie.
I think we should. On in. 5. I got a squeaky chair. I need some WD-40 in the studio. On in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Head and back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispy here, coming to you live from New York. And, pretty interesting. I said it at the beginning of the show, is that I'm a big backer of this initiative. I call it Jasmine 2028 for the Democrats. Yes, Jasmine Crockett. I want Tim Walz as the presidential nominee. I want Jasmine Crockett as the vice president. Let's go. Jasmine Crockett making her case for the illegals to stay in the country. And she's making her case in one of the coolest ways I think a Democrat can make the case. When I say coolest ways, I mean ways that we will win for the next 90 years. And that is by likening illegal immigrants to slaves. Jasmine Crockett, I don't know if she came up with this on her own or if they told her to say this, but Jasmine Crockett is likening the need to keep illegals into the country or keep them in the country and bring them in the country so that we can have perpetual slave labor and that blacks won't be doing slave labor anymore, but the illegals will do it. And that's why we can't expel them from the country, because then if they were expelled, then who would do this slave labor? Very bizarre. But if you're like me, a MAGA Republican, keep doing it, Jasmine. You're doing great. The more you talk, the better we do. Roll this.
Educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands buying a plantation.
Unreal.
So is Jasmine Crockett saying that the illegals coming into the country are here to do slave labor and that no black people want to work on farms? You know, most people who work on farms in today's day and age, in the year 2025, are white people who work on farms and have good jobs, good, honest, hardworking jobs. If you own a farm or work on a farm or are a farmer, that is a good, productive contribution to society. Jasmine Crockett says we're done doing that, not going to work on farms, and that the illegals who are coming in will pick the cotton. So bizarre. But you know what I say? Keep it up. All right, guys, we're out of time. It's all the time that we have on the show today. You guys know what we do in this program. We keep it America first. We keep it bold. We always keep it unafraid. Oh, and you better believe we are just getting started. We thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you very much. Thank you for the live numbers today. And we will see you back live tomorrow.